Well, what's going on, gentlemen?
It's another Saturday.
Thanks for coming to the second podcast for Predator Outlaw. Appreciate it. I don't know if you guys seen the first one, but it was a little rough, but we got through it.
I think there's been worse first tries.
Definitely.
I hope so. I hope so. I'll take that. I hope there was worse ones. You know what they say, nowhere but up from here.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So we do got a little bit better equipment this time, a little bit better recording device, a little bit better camera. Not much, but a little bit.
A little bit at a time.
Yeah, so a little bit at a time. So, like I said, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Why don't you go ahead? We should probably introduce you guys. So, Paul, why don't you start off and tell us who you are?
All right. My name's Paul, part of Predator Outlaw, pipe fitter / ironworker apprentice. Yeah, so I'm born in Chandler, raised in Casa Grande, 17 years or so. Been predator hunting for about a year now. And yeah, it's been a great time. There's been a lot of good experiences and memories that have come along with it. I'm excited for the future ones for sure.
Nice. A lot of beer too. Well, not for you.
No.
A lot of real beer for you.
Real
beer for you, as you're not quite of drinking age yet. But how about you?
Well, my name's Cade Johnston. I'm 21.
Way to rub it in, Cade. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Cheers to everyone.
Yeah.
Besides Paul. Right now I shoe horses and I build panels. Starting to get into that. Working
nice.
with a business about
Livestock
supplying metal.
panels mostly?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I was born in Mesa and I kind of moved all over with my dad, but I've been predator hunting probably since I was about 10 years old. When I killed my first coyote is when I started predator.
It's funny that you brought that up because I want to talk about that story.
Yeah.
It's one of the coolest. It's one of the coolest stories where I don't actually think you were predator hunting. I think you were fighting for survival.
No, yeah.
I think your dad was trying to thin the herd a little bit.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, but
the feed bill cut it down a little.
Yeah, cut the feed bill down a little bit. But for those that don't know, they're probably thinking that your dad was in the military or something. But your dad's, he's been cowboying all over the country for the most part of his life. He's settled down a little bit now here in Arizona, but that's a lifestyle when you're going to have a family. You got to drag them along with you. So
you bet.
The reason I asked you guys to come is because I wanted to kind of do a Young Guns style podcast where we talk about the new generation of predator hunters. I think a lot of times when you get on a pro staff or you become, a really good coyote hunter, you're older. You have some age behind you.
Right.
And I don't think people really take time to talk to those guys that are up and coming.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
You guys are the future of predator hunting. You guys are the future of animal conservation in this country. I think that not only is it nice to hear your guys' point of view and where you're coming from, that we all, us that have been hunting for a while, can relate to. But also, if there's some kids sitting on the couch playing video games right now, maybe they'll hear this and go,
sparks an interest.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's not an old guy's only deal.
Definitely not.
No, not at all. How do you guys like being referred to as millennials before I call you a millennial?
I'm actually not. But even if you did, I don't care.
Yeah.
But technically, I'm not a millennial.
Technically, you're not a millennial?
I'm Gen Z. Which is probably even worse. So
let's just say it's worse.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably not getting better.
So what you're saying is you're actually too young to be a millennial? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What about you? What are your thoughts on like the whole millennial? Because here's the thing. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, man, those millennials really got it figured out, right?
Right.
Probably not.
No, yeah, definitely. It doesn't bother me because I don't care what really many people think about me, which
there you go.
So be it.
I guess what I'm saying is when people think of millennials, I think they think of the kids sitting on the couch playing video games, right?
Staying inside.
Yeah, staying inside.
Going online.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where, you guys are very outdoors young men.
Yes.
Not just with coyote hunting, but shoeing horses and building panels and being a pipe fitter, an iron worker. Those are all outdoor things that you guys have chosen to do. Do you guys find yourself in a similar group of friends, or do you guys kind of find yourself as outsiders when it comes to being not just a coyote hunter, but even being just that outdoors person?
It definitely kind of feels like you're outside of it a little bit.
I would definitely say that too.
But once you get narrowed down to your group, then once you find your group, then you kind of just stick with it for the most part.
You kind of build your own tribe.
Right.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: outside of club members, who are also your friends, do you guys have any other friends that coyote hunt?
I don't know anyone that does it religiously like the guys.
Not
in the
like
group
us,
do,
I would say.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Like,
plenty
not
of
religiously.
I know plenty of guys with horses or cattle or whatever that, you know, they'll go through a few months of some animal getting messed up by something, and I'm gonna go
Try
get
to
a
go
few
kill some
dogs.
coyotes, yeah.
Or
No.
see a coyote kill a coyote. Like if you're
Yeah.
driving,
Right.
you're out driving, you know.
Right.
But it's not.
What's
like,
that old saying? You know, if I'm deer hunting or elk hunting and I see a coyote, I'm coyote hunting.
Yeah,
You bet.
exactly.
Yeah. You know, when I was growing up, I had a good amount of friends that hunted and coyote hunted. But even so, you know, going to high school,
Yep.
we were the minority. The hunting group was the minority. Most kids weren't hunting.
No.
And I can only imagine that's gotten even worse as time's gone by.
Not to mention, you didn't grow up in the city. Where are you from?
Oh, yeah. So I'm from a little town no one's ever heard of up north called Humboldt. But no, it's a little tiny iron mining town, 100 and something people in it when I was growing up. It's
Yeah.
probably gotten a little bigger now, but you know, I grew up in a really small town. I mean, I had to drive 20, 25 miles to get to high school, just to get to school.
Yeah.
So as far as like being new hunters, what's your gun of choice or caliber of choice for coyote hunting?
Currently, I have a Ruger 223. So 55 grain Hornady VMAX is the round I've been shooting right now. And I have a Nikon M223 scope that I've been using, and that's my current setup, but I'd like to change it in the future. Got my eye on a few things. More than a few things, I should say. Man, it's so hard to really narrow it down, not having a whole lot of experience with a good hunting setup. It's hard to decide what you really want to go after, you know?
Right. Well, there's too many to go after. You got to have them
Exactly.
all.
Yeah, so that's basically what I've come down to. It's like, man, I guess you just another setup and
You
another
bet.
setup. But I think the next one will probably be a 204, most likely. I really am interested in the 204. I've killed one coyote with it.
Yeah, you know, we discussed that in the last podcast about how great, you know, I thought the 204 was and how I'm kind of known as the 204 guy,
Right,
you know,
yeah,
in my
definitely.
circle of friends,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I can say the 204 is definitely going to be the next round. I really like the semi-auto for being a new hunter,
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as you still get, you know, the jitters
Absolutely.
when it first happens, and you'll take a shot you shouldn't have or whatever, and it's so nice to have that quick follow-up shot.
I
I
agree 100%. When I got really serious into coyote hunting, I hunted with the AR for a long.
A lot of big guys still shoot ARs. Big
Oh,
main
yeah.
guys. I see them
Oh,
all
yeah.
over. Yeah.
No, you know, the thing is when you run into that real traditional big game hunter, they want to tell you that, you know, the only gun worth owning is a bolt action
yeah.
gun. You know, and the thing I always tell people is I've never met a gun I don't like.
Nope.
And I mean that in every sense of the word. Even cheap guns.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a
like
gun.
to me, a gun is a gun.
Yeah.
And you get what you pay for, so you don't expect a $250 gun to perform like
Yeah.
a $1,000 gun. Like you said, I think that the biggest value to that AR-15 is that follow-up shot, because I don't care how good you are at this, everybody
Right.
makes a bad shot. And most guys can work a bolt action pretty fast, but not as fast
Not
as
as
you can
fa-
squeeze your
yeah.
trigger.
especially as a new hunter, you know.
Yeah,
it's-
absolutely.
Well, and I just went out hunting this morning, and I have an AR M&P, a Smith & Wesson. Anyways, yeah, with the follow-up shot, 80 yards came in, 6 minutes to the call. I shot once, kept it in my scope, doing a death spin, shot again, took off running, shot one more time, dirted it.
Nice.
So,
You know, most people will tell you when they're spinning, they're dying. If they don't run off, then if they're spinning, they're probably just going to die.
yeah.
But who wants to take that chance?
No, that-
'Cause
I don't take that
I will
chance.
tell you, multiple times I've had them spin on me and then take off running.
I'd rather shoot a spinning coyote than a running coyote, too.
yeah.
And case in point,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
that follow-up shot really pays off. So,
Make sure they're down, solid, yeah.
so what would you guys say? What sparked getting into predator hunting?
So for me, you guys kind of reintroduced me to it, but one of the things that really stuck with me as far as enjoying it is that it's so accessible for the most part, you know? Like how many people do you know that all year long you're like, man, I can't wait for November. Like coyote hunting, man,
You don't got to wait for nothing.
Wake up
right?
on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
it's August. You killed
If
a
you're
dog
up-
this morning.
If you're
Like,
up early enough, hey.
it's hot, but I mean, you
Doable.
killed a dog this
Doable,
morning.
yeah.
I've never been on a bad hunt.
No,
Ever.
you-
I've been on hunts where I woke up in the middle of the night, was in a foot of water.
Soaking
You're
wet.
so- yeah.
I've been on hunts where we rolled a 0 and the elements were really tough, and I've even said if I would have known how this hunt was going to turn out, I still would have.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
You still get out there, you're still hunting.
Yeah. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't don't have a reference to. When you love something as much as we all love hunting, we wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go do it. You know, like we all wake up early for our jobs anyway, and then on our days off, we wake up even earlier. But if you're gonna get to go hunt coyotes, you're like, bing. You know,
you don't even have to sleep.
Yeah. You know, and that's my biggest problem. Is like when I know I'm going coyote hunting, like I can't tell you how many times I've just woken up, wasn't able to sleep or something, and I've woken up early, and I was like, I'm gonna get dressed and go coyote hunting. And that's after a lot of years of coyote hunting. Like I still enjoy it that much. So yeah, I agree. I think that accessibility is a huge part of coyote hunting because, you know, we all also enjoy big game hunting. You know,
it starts getting more expensive towards a big game.
I haven't got drawn.
That's the other thing too. Yeah, for a young guy, it's really, really nice how accessible it is as far as financially.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You know,
I mean, very cheaply you can go out and hunt a coyote.
You can grab a mouth call and a gun
from your dad or whoever you need to, and go out and hunt.
And go out and hunt coyotes.
And you could get
kill your first coyote for sure.
Recently, I was going through some stuff and found like 3 or 4 mouth calls just laying, you know, somewhere in the house. Like it's not hard to come across the equipment to.
No, you can go to Walmart right now for like $3 or $4 and buy a mouth call, and you can kill coyotes every time with a mouth call. Like
that'll build some skill too.
Oh yeah,
if you can do it with that.
So how about you, Kate? Like who or what got you into coyote hunting?
I mean, really going hard at coyote hunting, I would say the club. But my dad coyote hunt off and on. We would hunt like up in Springerville. We were living there for a while, and we'd hunt at some of the flats. It was pretty cool. Like they got a few coyotes to run up basically in their laps, which was crazy on like a rock face. But they started from I guess like 13 really. I would say is like my dad started calling stuff for it. Like we went with him when he'd call. And then hard, I would say this last year, the beginning of 2020 is when I really put in I put in a bunch of hours. And I
think the hunting club has really upped all of our game.
Definitely.
I think it's really upped all of our activity too. You know, you're more likely to go out hunting when you have more people around you that are appreciative of it. You know,
say congrats on a dog you killed. Like you're like hell yeah. Like you're like I did kill this dog. So like what's up?
Like I've gone on tons of, and I know you guys too have. I also have. You know, but I've gone on a ton of hunts by myself, and you know, you make some awesome running shot on a coyote. And you look around like, man, I wish there was somebody here to see this.
You're like, they're not going to believe this one, really.
Man, I should have had a GoPro on that gun.
I wish there was somebody here to see this. But so you were talking a little bit about calls. What kind of call? Do you guys use mouth calls more, e-callers more? What kind of calls are you guys using?
You know, I really want and need to get into mouth calls more. To me, I think that's a big part of being a true predator hunter. I think it's a necessity for sure. But I do have a Lucky Duck Revolt right now that I use for my call.
I will tell you, the thing I think made me a better caller was I used to always have my calls in my vehicle with me. So when I'm driving around in the Jeep, especially if I'm on a long drive by myself, I grab my calls and I start practicing, because if I do it with my wife in the car, I'm going to be walking. So, but
I tried that one.
But when I'm by myself, I'm able to like just sit there and practice different calls and stuff like that. And the nice thing about the e-caller is I'll try to simulate calls that sound like the e-call.
Yeah.
Something to put in your back pocket. You know, throw your calls in the truck with you.
Yeah.
And when you're on those drives to work, pull them out and just practice a couple of sequences.
Yeah.
How about you, Kay? What do you use for calling?
Yeah, I have a hand call, and I've been getting into that a little bit. I'll do it on a few of my stands. I don't do it on every stand, but on one day in the morning, like if I'm on my third stand and it's starting to get a little bit warm, I'll just practice it, you know. Like I've heard my call for 3 different stands, and I kind of can mimic the Jackrabbit Distress or whatever. But I have I can't remember the model of it, but it's a Fox Pro, but it's an older one. I got it off Craigslist actually for $100.
Nice.
So going back to the cheap, it's cheap e-collar, and it still puts out noise. So I've killed a couple coyotes off it. So
you know, that's a great point. You know, when you're talking about, you know, being able to get into coyote hunting cheaply.
Yeah.
You know, us old guys are always upgrading, right? I know that I started off with the handheld, the ones that look like CB radios, and you know I ended up handing those down to a new hunter, and they got however much use out of them. So jump on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and all that stuff.
Exactly.
That, or I mean, I don't think I know one millennial that doesn't have access to a Bluetooth speaker. I know.
Oh yeah.
There's.
If you really wanted to go.
Yeah, I mean,
go out there.
I know I've done it.
Just through a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, just through a Bluetooth speaker.
And then use an app on your phone?
There's an app. It's really easy. Easy.
I can say that I've never done that, but man, like that is a great, I love like I love the life hack stuff.
You never know.
Yeah.
You can make it work and go on a stand. It's worth the wait once you really do wait. Like
the angst of just sitting and waiting at a stand.
But it's all part of the excitement too. Aaron, another member of the Outlaw Club.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, Aaron, who is also technically a new hunter, he's only a year into coyote hunting.
Yep.
He hunts more than anyone.
Dedicated. Yeah.
He hunts 4 or 5 times a week. Yeah. Like if he just has to go out back behind his house and call, he'll do it just to become a better caller. Yeah. I mean, even if he knows, like, look, I'm probably not going to call a coyote, but I'm gonna try out these other sequences. You talk about a guy with passion. What I was going to say is I normally look at stands, 20 to 30 minutes, and then I'm up and I'm to the next stand.
Yeah.
And we happen to be, and there's always exceptions to the rules. Sometimes I'm in a spot where I'm like, I know there's a coyote in here.
Yeah.
And I'll hang out a little bit longer. Me and Aaron a month ago called for over an hour.
Really?
And then actually had a coyote come in at an hour and 6 minutes.
Lord.
Yeah.
Dude.
And totally switched up the calls. We went from we started off with vocals and then went to distress calls and then went back to vocals. And then I went back to distress calls and I actually just put on a dying cottontail rabbit call and just turned it down and was just letting it play. And really just sitting there thinking to myself, this place is too perfect not to kill a coyote. And I look over to the left, here comes a coyote
soon enough,
So you just never know when and where they're going to show up.
Crazy.
So one question I got that I think would be beneficial to a lot of younger guys. So you know how everybody tells you, oh, trust your gut. As a young guy, you'll be thinking whatever it is, and you're like, no, like my gut's telling me like this is whatever. And it turns out you're totally wrong. Like couldn't be farther off. Was there like a point where you were able to decipher from what was, just like wishful thinking and actually like a true feeling of like this is a good spot?
Yeah. Yeah, there actually absolutely was. I'll be honest with you, when I first started coyote hunting, I didn't even check for wind. And like now, like if someone told me they were coyote hunting and not checking for wind, I'd be like, then you're not coyote hunting.
Yeah.
We all know dogs have better noses than most animals in the animal kingdom. When I started refining some of my processes where I was checking for wind and I was making sure I was on the elevation side of a stand and making those sacrifices where you want to be sitting here, but the wind's not right. And you're like, I'm going to go sit in this really shitty spot. But when you start eliminating those factors, that's when you start refining that gut feeling, right? Because then it's not as much randomness. Right, because now I've always got the wind in my face and hopefully have the sun in my back for the most. But when you start doing those things, then your gut feeling becomes refined because you're like, I've been on a stand like this multiple times, and I know that cover over there is a great place for coyotes to be bedded down at 9 a.m. in the morning or 8 a.m.
Yeah, it just pops in your head.
Right.
It's weird.
And so what happens is your gut feeling actually gets smarter. It's not just guessing; it's knowing all the factors that you had killing coyotes, and then your gut feeling goes, "Look, this is a good stand." Because I've been on stands before where I was like, "This is a beautiful, beautiful stand," and my partner was like, "I knew we weren't going to call any coyotes on this stand." And they're like, "Yeah, I just had a gut feeling. I knew it wasn't going to happen." I thought for sure we were going to kill a coyote.
Definitely,
I know exactly what you're talking about because I'll be walking up to a stand somewhere. And there's a few things, wind, sun, good sight, but sometimes I'll get stuck on one and then I'll just be looking for that one thing and I'll forget everything else. And if I find that one thing, I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. This is the spot. It's good.
Right. But I think there's no such thing as literally a perfect stand. Like something can go wrong. The wind can change. You can be in a bad spot. You might have to be on the other side of the field or wherever you're at, but find a stand, but just don't overthink to where you're trying to find that perfect one because you've walked past 4 different stands you could have done. I've done that plenty of times. I've wound up way over in the middle of the way in the desert where I didn't mean to be when I was looking for one perfect stand.
So, that's another thing that I would add is I've called bad stands
Yeah.
and killed coyotes. Sometimes a bad stand's better than no stand. I won't walk into a spot and not make a stand. Like, once I get out of the Jeep and I get my gear on, I'm making a stand.
Yeah.
If I get out there and the wind's wrong and I don't have elevation, the areas of approach suck, I'm still going to call for at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I might call for 10 minutes and be like, yeah, I knew this wasn't going to work, and then bail. But I'm at least going to call it. Like, I won't completely bail on a stand.
Yeah.
There is a level of randomness to coyote hunting. People think that when they watch Fur Takers or Lucky Duck or anybody, right?
Right when the call hits.
I don't care who it is. They think that it's just a matter of becoming a good enough coyote hunter to kill coyotes on every stand. I would still say that coyote hunting is 20% preparation and 80% luck. It's like anything else. You can do everything right every single time and not kill coyotes.
Yeah.
And then you can go out and make the most fucked up stand you've ever made and kill a double.
Yep.
Luck is such a factor.
Yeah.
And we can't control it, right?
How many times have you been driving down the road or at an arena or somewhere and just seen a coyote trotting down?
away.
It's
nothing to
It's
it.
just randomness. Right near my work, middle of the city, there's alfalfa fields right across the road from it. It's just a single 2-lane road. And I was sitting on that 2-lane road one morning. I look over, there's a coyote just walking as slow as he can down the edge of the
That's called
edge of
rubbing
the
it
farm
in.
field. Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know.
I just could not believe it.
I was actually, I was on a Harley ride with some buddies. On my way back, I was by myself, and I was taking this really desolate, road back. It was a paved road, but it was really desolate. It's called Vulture Mine Road, if you guys are familiar, and it comes out of Wickenburg.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so I'm on this road by myself on a Harley, loud, and I'm just blasting. I'm the only vehicle on the road, middle of the day, and it's wintertime, so it's 75 degrees outside.
Yeah, beautiful.
So I'm and I get past this sorting area off to the side, this cattle sorting area,
Yeah.
and there's a coyote standing there, not 20 feet off the road, and just watches me drive right by, and I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, you thought
all
you were
I've got
filming
on
a
me.
movie.
Yeah, all I've got on me is my personal protective weapon. I've got a sidearm on me. That I go everywhere with, and I go by, and he just like. Yeah, you're not going to shoot at me. And I'm like, oh, like hell I'm not.
Yeah.
I turned around.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Pulled off the side of the road, walked back there, and, unfortunately I wasn't able to, I did shoot at it. It was running off, and I shot at it because I made the effort. I was going to take a shot.
Yeah.
So me and my 9mm went ahead and took a shot at it, and obviously didn't hit it. But same thing, it's like he was tempting me. He's like, oh, you're on your Harley.
And you knew it.
Yeah, you're not going to get me today.
Yeah. I guess another story to add on is yesterday I was just scouting some, new stands that I wanted to try out. Anyways, I was driving home and sure as shit, I see a jackrabbit first, right? About 30 yards off. Right above the jackrabbit, about 20 yards, coyote just trotting along the highway. I slam on my brakes, turn off on the next dirt road, and I'm sitting there with the 380, just waiting for him. He seen my damn truck, like he knew I was there, but I was just waiting for him. I was like, I got a handgun, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, if he
it was my girlfriend's. Let's make this clear, just so no one.
Yeah, you're
rubs it in that I have a
concealed carry is
380.
Yeah, no, it's my girl's. Okay.
I remember when I was 12.
Yeah, for real. I'm like, boing, boing.
Oh, hey, better a 380 than nothing.
No, straight up.
So you guys both use AR-15s for your primary guns,
Yeah.
and you guys both are actively using e-collars and learning how to mouth call better.
Yep.
What about other gear that you feel is maybe essential or a really good idea for a new hunter?
For beginner?
I would say for anybody that might listen to this and go,
Right.
I'm going to go try it out.
Try it out, yeah.
Like obviously they don't want to break the bank. They don't need to go buy a $700 call or anything like that, but just gear that you think will enhance the chances of them killing a coyote.
I would just say, you got to have like a tripod. Like you got to be sturdy on your shot. They come in quick, a few seconds to shoot sometimes if you're lucky. But so I would say a bipod or tripod, and then I would say a seat would be pretty essential. Other than obviously the rifle and a hand.
Yeah, most of that I would agree with. I think
Basic
that's
necessity.
What about
definitely
camo?
pretty good. I think it's up
Walmart camo.
up
Yeah.
to
Get
the
camo
guy or the
on.
area.
Just get any
Yeah.
type of camo on, and get set under a tree, break up, and you're good.
That's the biggest thing I think that needs to be stressed is just go do it. If you
sit still, if you're in blue jeans, just sit real still, you know, like just be quiet, sit still. And
if you got $500 to spend, you know, on equipment other than your rifle, you'd be better off spending $200 on a good tripod and $100 on camo and, you know, $300 on ammo.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%. I mean, gun and all, like you can get into coyote hunting for $750.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, all day.
I mean, you can be making stands every day for $750.
Yeah.
You know, and that's gun, camo, everything. You know, shooting sticks, everything you need. Yep. You know, you got a smartphone, so you can take tons of pictures.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is important.
Heck yeah. Hey, you got to have that proof, or your buddies are not gonna believe you.
You know what's funny is there's so many people out there that want to be Mr. Morality, you know, where they're like, well, I don't take pictures of my animals because I don't like to celebrate. And it's like, what? Any accomplishment is worth celebrating.
Yeah. I take pictures for memories, you know?
Yeah.
Who knows how many hours you've put in to do just what you're doing right
Why would
there.
you not be proud of it enough to take a picture of it, you know? And I've had this argument with plenty of people saying, well, you know, I don't think you should glorify the kill or whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's what you're out there doing.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to dumb down hunting to meet other people's expectations of it. To the point where I'm like, well, I'm not going to celebrate something that is really important to me because someone else isn't comfortable with it.
Yeah. It's important.
For lack of a better term, fuck them. Yeah. If you become the world's greatest video game player and take a picture of your I don't know what comes with that, like
your stats,
is there a belt or I don't know what, but whatever comes with that, and you take a picture of it, I'd more than happy hit like and say, you know, right, congratulations, because you set out to accomplish a goal and you did it.
A self goal.
Yeah. Even though I can't relate to it, it has no bearing on me. I can't really appreciate it in the fullest like you do. I absolutely can respect the fact that you set out to accomplish something and you did it, and that's how I feel about hunting. Yeah. You know, like for a long time, a lot of guys felt like taking pictures of an animal showing blood or showing the impact.
Right.
Like if you go back 20 years, you won't hardly find a picture of an animal being processed in the field. Because guys felt like, it's offensive, you know, because people don't want to see the gore of it, right? To me, I'm like, no, show it, because no one has a closer relationship with animals than a hunter.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone has a higher respect for animals than a hunter. I mean, we're out killing coyotes and people are like, oh, you're just killing them for fun. No, we're killing coyotes because we understand how population control works and we want to be a part of the solution, right? I mean, there's not a lot of things, you know, when I turn on the TV and I listen to politics and everything, there's not a lot I can do to change the world as a whole. But I know that I can up the number of deer in my area by going out and managing coyote numbers. Yeah. And so that's a large part of why I do it. And because I love it, you know, I'm not afraid to tell you, like, I do it because I love doing it. But to not celebrate it, I feel like is, why are you doing it? If you're not willing to celebrate it, then why are you doing it? I don't feel like I need to tiptoe around anybody else's opinion about it.
Yeah, I think anybody with any kind of work ethic and drive, like you were saying, will appreciate anybody else that has put, you know, hours and hours of effort and, you know, studying. To be good at anything, you have to study and train for it.
And not just hunting, but life, right?
As far as predator hunting, doing it for so many years and having a lot of accomplishments that, you know, Cade and I probably have and haven't reached yet that you've already gone past, what would be the next one you would set? You know, like you.
If I was you?
No, if it.
For myself?
You right now, you know, like you've already killed however many dogs, like, you know.
So it's funny you brought that up because I'm actually in the middle of doing exactly what my next goal is for predator hunting. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the idea. Set goals for yourself.
Set goals. Yes.
So I know that when I first started coyote hunting, my first goal was to kill a coyote.
Yep. Yeah.
And then I met that goal. And then I was like, okay, now this year I want to kill 10 coyotes.
Yeah.
And then I met that goal. And then I was like, well, I want to get a double. I want to shoot a double. Mm-hmm. And I met that goal. And so I just kept setting goals for myself. And I set a goal this year for coyotes. You know, I have a goal to kill 50 coyotes this year.
Yeah.
And some people are listening to this right now going, man, he's not that much of a hunter. I killed 100 coyotes last year. That's great.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting at 12 right now,
Yeah.
and it's July. Or no, it's August.
hard,
It's August, yeah.
It's August, and I'm only sitting at 12. So,
But it's a
so I set a goal
self-goal,
for 50,
yeah.
for this year. But my goal now is really to expose as many new coyote hunters as possible. I've got the opportunity to take a lot of new hunters out and get them their first coyote. Even in our club, I've been able to take multiple hunters out and get them their first coyote, or get maybe not their first coyote, but their first called in coyote.
Yeah, definitely.
Or maybe their first double, and like, so now that's kind of the goal that I've set for myself, is I want to expose more people to it. Hence the reason that I wanted to start a podcast about predator hunting. I want to get as many people interested in it as possible, because the truth is, the only way to control coyote numbers is with coyote hunting.
Yeah.
It's the only way. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I know you guys are fully aware of mange and what that is to a dog. But did you guys know that mange was actually a disease that was released by government trappers?
To control,
I didn't know that at first until I heard about it from you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it was actually a move by the government to release mange to help control coyote numbers. And what they found was mange takes way too long to kill coyotes.
Way too long.
And it's funny because every time you read one of the Game and Fish articles about, coyote hunting and things like that, like, as you guys know, contests have been recently outlawed in Arizona. So you're not allowed to do what Game and Fish considers a contest. They have essentially a set guideline of what a contest is, which was part of what sparked us from starting the club.
Yeah.
And Game and Fish released that the downside to not having contests is the fact that it helps control coyote populations, also helps increase the population of antelope and deer in the state of Arizona. At every turn, Game and Fish is saying, listen, we have to manage these animals.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is the ignorant, which means lack of knowledge.
just uneducated.
The ignorant person looks at a coyote like a dog, like their pet, right? They're like, oh, we love dogs. I love dogs. Well, you love dogs, but I guarantee you don't love coyotes, right? Because a coyote will snatch your dog or your cat out of your yard and eat it right in front of you. So a lot of people don't know this, but antelope, fawn, can't walk when they're born. They're not like deer and horses and stuff like that. As soon as they're born, they stand up on, and start walking. Yeah. So does, they make little nests for their young. And that's one of the number one feed sources for coyotes.
Antelope.
And in the state of Arizona right now, you have to get like 23 to 25 bonus points to draw an antelope tag because our populations have dwindled so much. And a lot of that, the number one cause of death of an antelope in the state of Arizona is a coyote. And so when you start thinking about when people are making arguments, oh, you're killing these poor innocent animals.
There's more to it than just
there's
the
math
animal.
and there's
Those
science.
poor innocent animals are killing truly.
Look behind the animal.
Innocent.
Exactly.
See what it's done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As we know, dogs or canines, they breed every year.
Yeah.
Every female coyote breeds anywhere from 2 to 8 pups a year. Yeah. Every single one of them. They don't take any time off. They're not like people. Mm-hmm. They're not making conscious decisions of, well, you know what, I'm getting ready to go to college, so I'm not going to get pregnant. Yeah. They don't do that, right? They breed every single year, and then they're releasing those pups, into the wild, and those pups have to eat, and they are predators. Therefore, they're eating other animals. So what's funny about predator hunting is when you predator hunt, you're essentially saving other animals. So to circle back to your question about my goal is to now, I'd like to expose as many people as I can to predator hunting, both personally and on this format where I can talk about predator hunting, and maybe I can motivate more people to get out there and do their part to reduce predation and increase the amount of deer and antelope and stuff like that we have in our country. So that's my current goal. How about you? What's your current goal as a predator hunter?
Truly is to do it more. Like I don't do it as much as I should. It's just, you just have to get out there and do it more because I really do want to become a better hunter.
What do you think keeps you from hunting more? I feel like 9 times if we were talking about exercising, right? We all know that we need to exercise more, right? Yeah. If we were talking about exercising, the things that you normally get is like, well, I'm busy at work. Or, I got a wife and kids, or I got a husband and kids, or, I'm starting a new business. Like, there's always things that keep people from exercising. So, in predator hunting, as I know it's important to you, what is the things that keep you from doing it?
It's probably a combination of, being tired from work and then having friends, already have other plans and say, hey, let's go do this,
Options.
Let's go. Yeah, having other options that, seem like more fun up front, but it's like in reality, it's like, man,
or easier.
I honestly, yeah, or you know what you're getting if you go that way.
Right. So what's funny about that is I used to be in the exact same boat. I used to have multiple hobbies. And literally about 7 years ago, I put myself on a goal to eliminate the amount of hobbies that I had. As I was talking about, going on a Harley ride with my friends.
Yeah.
So I had a Harley, and I went on multiple rides, not just, putting around town, but like I'd go on multiple weekend rides, 4-day weekend rides with some buddies of mine. And I had a great time. We would cruise up to Laughlin during bike week and stay in a hotel and hang out at the casinos, go to comedy clubs and go to the bike rallies and look at a bunch of cool bikes. So that was one of my hobbies, and then and I had some other hobbies. And what I realized is there wasn't a single time that I was on my Harley or doing any other hobby that I didn't go, well, I'm glad I'm doing this and not hunting. In case in point, I would actually go, that was fun, but I still would have rather gone hunting. And so I actually sat down with my wife and I said, listen, like my goal, I want to reduce some of my other hobbies because I feel like I do them out of habit.
Right.
I've ridden a Harley my entire life, and so I've got these group of friends that ride Harleys, and we have these yearly events that we do every single year. So you look at my calendar, 52 weekends a year, and I bet you at one time, concerts that we go to every year like Country Thunder and all this other stuff, I'm looking at 52 weekends a year, and I might have like 5 or 6 weekends that aren't spoken for. And I said I want to cut that out. I want to be able to just go hunting on a regular basis. And so I slowly started doing that, and it was tough. I got to tell you, it was tough. I sold my Harley, quit riding, quit doing some of the other hobbies that I was into. But you know what I noticed? I didn't miss it nearly as much as I thought I would.
Right,
and guess what? I started hunting more. Because there wasn't I'd like to go hunting this weekend, but I already told my buddies I was going to ride to Laughlin. And so by eliminating some of those other hobbies, I was actually able to hunt more. And I have to tell you, I'm happier than I ever been. And I hunt a lot. I amaze people usually when I tell them, like, I'm coyote hunting 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, especially with you being retired from your job now and everything. It's not
so
nice.
much. Yeah, COVID retired. Not so much retired, but forced to work at home. But you're right. Yeah. Being able to work from home, I've been able to wake up really early in the morning, go coyote hunting for a few hours, and then
get your stuff
be
done.
back to work and get in front of my laptop. And so that has been nice. Not that I'm saying the coronavirus is nice, but that has been nice. But I guess the reason I tell you that is if you truly want to get out into the desert, into the woods more, start eliminating other hobbies. Because we all do shit that we're like, we do it just because we're used to doing it.
Yeah.
I've had buddies that were like, I really want to get into coyote hunting, I just don't have the time. But they're at the bar every other weekend.
Yeah,
basically
wasting
dropping $500, $600 on a bar tab every weekend, and I'm like, no, you got plenty of time. You're just misusing it. So I guess that's why I asked the question, is because if you can start to eliminate some of those other distractions, if you truly enjoy hunting more than you do that,
if you really do like hunting,
that's the first decision that you have to make. Right. Is there anything that you'll be willing to cut?
Yeah.
And it might not seem like it up front, but in reality, you might come across a few things that you're like, I really don't care that much about that.
Yeah, and I don't know that I won't buy another Harley someday. Like, I don't know.
You never know. Yeah.
I might get one again. But I know that I won't find myself going on 6 or 7.
Yeah, maybe a cruise around town ride.
I won't get back into riding like I was, to where it was monopolizing a lot of my time. So moving on. As you guys got into coyote hunting or coyote hunting more, what was some of the big surprises, or were there any big surprises where you're like, holy crap, I wasn't expecting this, or or any surprises that you weren't expecting?
Just kind of in general. Overall.
In general about hunting?
I would say kind of surprised me how cheap it was, because I really thought, not that I would just watch Fox Pro and stuff, and they got some pretty nice stuff, and the death grip and all that, good stuff, and the newest call out, but you don't really need all that. I mean, it's pretty cheap to get into, and it's really fun. You go out, you watch sunrises, while hunting coyotes, and then in the winter you go out, I mean, you can hunt mostly all day in the winter, but for the most part, you go out in the evenings, you watch a cool sunset, like, and if you smoke a coyote or smoke a double, it's pretty cool. So it's like,
yeah, it's funny because, like, people talk about, meditation and yoga or therapy or whatever. For me, that's that.
Yep.
Like if I'm having a hard time personally, professionally, in a relationship, whatever, I can go out and do some stands and hunt and watch some sunrises or sunsets, and be out there and be more interact more with nature, and I feel better. My wife will tell me all the time, like, I'll get in a bad mood or I'll be in a span of maybe being upset or being depressed, or not serious depression, but just kind of bah humbug and stuff, and she'll be like, why don't you go hunting? Because she knows when I come back, it's like, life is good again.
It'll be easier on her.
Yeah, life is good again.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that, like, being out by yourself. I mean, being a new hunter, I was a little bit, like, intimidated to go out by myself. I was thinking, like, I mean, I know, like, some stands and stuff like that my dad or, someone in the group is kind of taking me to, but, like, it's kind of hard, like, staying focused, like, sitting there running your call, watching for coyotes. So, like, at first it was a little bit scary. I don't know, like, not scary really, just like I just didn't know what was going to happen.
It's definitely hard to find.
Yeah, intimidating is the right word.
It's definitely hard to find the creativity to, like, find a spot of your own and then know what to do once you get there.
Yeah, and it's like, but I feel like once I kind of more, like, I would say prioritize coyote hunting since I joined the club, is like, I want to get better so I can kill more coyotes.
Right.
I'm competing, like, not like them. I am competing against everyone else, like, but it's friendly competition too. Like, you killed 3 dogs this weekend, I killed 2, or whatever. But so it's like a competition, but it's, I don't know.
And I think competition makes us all better in anything.
It just drives you.
Yeah, in anything, not just hunting, not just everything. I think competition can make you a better person all the way around if you're a competitive person. It's funny. I've actually talked to people where they're very anti-competition. They're like, well, I just
we
feel
know
like
how that turns out.
Too competitive. And I'm like, well, life is competitive, right? Like, you get up every morning. And even if you're not competing with the guy next to you, you get up every morning, you try to be better than the guy you were yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least that's how I am.
Yeah.
And I can't speak to how other people are, but, I think life is competitive. And I agree with you.
Yeah.
If you've got 2 or 3 good buddies, maybe you're a deer hunter, maybe you're an elk hunter, maybe you haven't hunted in a long time, go grab a hand call and do some coyote hunting. Get yourself out there, do some coyote hunting. Look, you won't hate it.
No.
At most, you'll be like, yeah, it was fun, but it's not something I want to do all the time, and I'll do it every once in a while. But I guarantee you won't hate it, right?
But you'll know right then and there, usually, like, when someone takes you kind of on your first stand, you'll kind of know if you really want to be a coyote hunter,
For sure.
I think. I was like, damn, this is badass.
Right.
Like, look at this predator coming into my call 20 yards away.
Yep.
So I think that's just pretty neat. So I was kind of hooked right off. Like I said, I seen coyotes around, but calling them in, like, real close, it kind of, like, get your adrenaline going. So it's kind of, heart pounding. So it gets you in the moment, and you're like, you're trying to focus on shooting. Like, you haven't shot too many dogs, but you're trying to stay steady. I don't know. It's kind of like a big rush in one, really.
Oh yeah.
It's
so
ridiculous.
I don't want to miss out. We kind of promised everyone we were going to talk about your first coyote.
Oh,
I don't want to miss out on that story because I think it's probably one of the funniest, scariest, craziest coyote stories I've ever heard. So tell us about your first coyote.
All right. Well, I would say I was in 5th or 6th grade. I was about 10 or 11 years old. We were living down by Sassabee in Arizona, but there's a Sassabee, Mexico across the border. They share the border right there. So we were about 10 miles north of Sassabee. So we're in pretty, not too nice a country. And me and my brother, we'd always drive around with my dad. We always got some 22s, and my dad's got a 243 or something in the truck. So my dad's like, a cow had died or something, got stuck in the tank or died or something. My dad's like, I bet you a coyote would probably... We're just driving around the ranch throwing salt licks out and stuff. So he's like, we just got new 243s, the minis, the youths. Yeah, me and Colby just got them. So I'm a little older than my brother Colby. So my dad's like, all right, I'm gonna set you down right here under this tree. It's a single shot break. So I have a single shot, and I got about 3 more bullets with me. Yeah. So my dad, and I mean, there's a lot of illegal activity and whatnot, so
That
I was a
happens
little
south of
bit
the border.
scared, and I knew that all about the activity, you know. So I was like a little scared. My dad said, "I'll be one dirt tank over in the next pasture." All right, I'll do it, you know. So I
So I just want to make sure I understand. So you're in the truck. He drops off. He drops
me
you off
off.
at like 10 years old.
with the 243 single
Puts you
shot.
underneath a juniper tree. with a
No,
s-
nice mesquite
Oh,
tree.
mesquite tree.
I'm underneath it.
Okay. So with a single shot 243,
Yep.
and then takes off with your brother.
Yeah.
So you're by yourself.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
by myself. I'm waiting on this carcass of this cow. I don't know. I couldn't tell you which tank they went to. I didn't know at that point. But anyways, I'm waiting there, and I see some buzzards and stuff. And I'm 10 years old, so I start getting bored, right? And I'm just sitting there. So I'm getting ready, and I'm aiming at this bird on this carcass, and I'm like, cool, like 50-yard shot. I'm under the tree at the dirt tank. Out of the corner of my eye, I see this coyote just trotting straight to me down the road. And it's like 30 yards from me. I'm like frozen with fear, I would say. My gun wasn't cocked at first because I was just waiting for something to come, and I didn't want to have a loaded gun. So I finally get the hammer cocked back. My scope's turned up to 9. It's the highest it can go. I'm like on my last leg here, right? I see fur, I shoot the coyote. It blows its front leg off. It's sitting there spinning. My dad's over in the other pasture. I guess he heard my shot. I'm trying to reload my single shot, and I can't. I'm shaking so hard with my hands, I can't load the freaking shell into the rifle. I finally get it, and I'm shaking so bad, and I lean back on the tree, and I shoot it again, and it died. But I was just like the shakes you get.
How close was the coyote, would you say?
I would
time
say
he died?
by the time he died, 20 yards. Seriously, I'm not beginning to kid. My scope was on 9, and he was at 20 yards. He
telling
came
you.
out of nowhere.
Listen, Kate, I'm telling you, you need to have a serious conversation with your dad.
He tried to pawn me off.
I think he was trying to get rid of you. Like,
He
I
said,
think,
"I'm gonna keep your brother. You stay here.
Yeah.
You got a single shot."
yeah.
I had a fighting chance, and I survived. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, like he gave you a fighting chance.
He
He's
gave
like,
me a
listen,
chance.
if he survives, we'll keep him.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, he doesn't.
Hey, he's a hunter. Look, that's when the day I was labeled a hunter is when I killed my first
Oh yeah,
coyote.
no, I would have labored. Yeah, like you became a man that day
Yeah.
at 10 years old. Yeah, so I don't know that's not really predator hunting. It's more predator surviving.
Survival.
But impressive nonetheless.
Yeah.
So I hate to like lead off with that first coyote story,
Right.
and then because Paul, I don't know if your
Yeah, I
coyote story is
don't
that
know
good.
if it'll match. My very first coyote was years and years ago. I was probably about the same age, and it was kind of like what I was talking about earlier, where somebody would have a string of cows or horses getting messed up or whatnot, and me and a few of my dad and a few of his friends, we went out and called one in. I don't know what the call was, any of the details, because like I said, I was young. So called one in, shot it, and that was technically my first coyote experience. But my reintroduction into predator hunting was with your son on his deer hunt. We were going into his deer stand. We were actually in basically the same country that it happened, that Cade's first experience was in. It was in
A lot of south of the border.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
A lot of south of
yeah.
the border action out here in
Good
Arizona.
hunting.
Yeah. So it was in, I don't know if it was technically in Sassabee or a little south of Sassabee,
Right.
but it was right near, there's Santa Margarita Ranch, and it was right near that. So we were driving past that, and then we were going to hike a few ridges over back to where we were going to set up first thing in the morning. And Jordan's driving, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat, half asleep. Glasses are off, so I'm fucking useless at that point. I'm blinder than a bat. And he goes, "Hey, what? There's a coyote right there." Oh shit! So I got your first 204 that you talked about in the previous podcast. That's sitting next to me, so I grab it, I load one in there, and I miss my first shot. Like I said, completely useless without my glasses. I can't see anything. And he kind of crests over a ridge that there's a road, but it's a ridge. So he kind of crests over that. So we come up over top of it, and then he was down towards the bottom, and I got him on the second shot. So that was like my first reintroduction to predator hunting, and it was a pretty good one, I think, as far as it was just real random and out of the blue.
Hey, putting it on one is great anytime.
It was a good way to start off the morning, especially considering that was the only thing we killed the whole time.
So let me ask you guys, what do you think about the predator hunting community? Have you had much interaction with the predator hunting community, either on Facebook, like social media, or on in person, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Like, we just started our thing, our Predator Outlaw thing up, and I see plenty of people commenting bears, lions. Like, that's cool to me. I'm like, I don't even know some of these people, and they're commenting some cool shit, shit or whatever. But yeah. So I think they're pretty welcoming. I mean, if you know hunters, they're pretty good people. I mean, you got a few bad apples and everything.
Absolutely.
But most of the time, like, any hunter's usually a good old boy, I would say.
No,
like,
I agree, 100%.
You can get along if you don't try to butt heads with somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, speaking of good old boys, I got to tell you guys this story. The way we started out with this whole Predator Outlaw name essentially some of us were out hunting, and we were close to one of the reservations, and one of the guys goes, "Hey, are we on the reservation?" And jokingly, I said, "Well, we're Predator Outlaws. We don't give a shit." And then the name just kind of stuck. And so we kind of tossed the name around for a while, and we joke around about being Predator Outlaws. And then that kind of grew into starting a hunting club, and then has now grown into, trying to start a podcast and a Facebook group page,
it's pretty neat.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the community, when I started the Facebook group page, a gentleman contacted me. His name was, and I hope I get his name right, Justin Guide or Geed. I can't tell. It's
I know. I couldn't tell either.
Yeah.
I couldn't pronounce.
And I've never met him in person, but I seen him on Facebook, and I knew that he was a predator hunter.
Yeah.
So he contacts me, and he's like, "Hey man, just want to let you know, I've had a Facebook page called Arizona Predator Hunter for like the last 5 years," and I'm thinking, man, we're gonna have to change the name. Like, I'm sure this guy's like, "Hey, you stole my name," right? And obviously, we didn't steal anybody's name.
Right.
It was just something I came up with. But it's not that hard to, it's not like it was that creative of a name in the first place.
Unique, crazy unique.
He hits me up on Facebook, and so I just kind of felt like, well, if that's, I don't know enough about that stuff so I said, "Hey, are we, is this going to be a conflict of what you're doing?" So the guy calls me. Cool as shit. Calls me up and he goes, "Hey, listen, not a conflict at all." He goes, "I actually love what you're doing. I love the fact that you guys are starting out and doing all this stuff and getting, and kind of engaging with the predator hunting community." This guy, I mean, he's a next level. He's like a next level predator hunter. He's on a couple pro staffs.
Oh, definitely. You can tell he's been going 5 years strong, like in his club, like just his thing.
He's been killing some dogs and but like you said, just a good old boy, an all around good guy. So he ends up. He messaged me on instant messenger, and we actually ended up talking. And he's like, "Listen," he's like, "anything I can do to help," he goes, "I'd love to, go hunt with you guys sometime. I'll show you some of my spots, this and that." And more of like let's collaborate together and do this together. Yeah. And I was like, "Hey, is the Predator Outlaw thing going to be a problem?" He's like, "No, absolutely not.
Awesome, dude.
You do your thing, I'm going to do my thing. And we both do similar things, so it's good just to kind of know each other."
Yeah.
And I just thought, man, like, that really speaks to the predator hunting community.
Well, and especially what's going on all around the U.S. right now, this madness. You see some guy being nice about, different
about anything
groups.
Is almost
you're
surprise,
like, sweet,
right?
like, finally.
People are getting their ass kicked for not wearing masks in public, right? Like, people are getting beat down by groups because they don't have a mask on. And yet here's this guy who's been,
cool
doing what we're trying to do. Yep. And instead of him, he easily could have just tried to shut us down and been like, "Hey, you guys are ripping off my name or whatever." And instead, he's like, "No, we need more of this. Let's do more of this, and let's work together more than anything." And
which is awesome.
Yeah, I thought that it kind of reinstilled. I mean, I knew that hunters as a group are really good people, but it kind of reinstilled the fact that how much I like being a part of that community, and I'm really hoping that once the equipment gets a little bit better and the format gets a little bit better, I'm really hoping I can get him on the podcast. And we can kind of share stories back and forth, and he can kind of tell us like his journey to getting to where he's at, because he really is where where we're trying to be, as far as exposure and, that's awesome, and stuff like that. So but just a really good guy, and again, you can't beat that, because most people are going to call you up and give you a cease and desist order.
Yeah, shove it in your face.
Want to sue you or
Yeah.
something like that, and, you know, and or take advantage of the fact that we don't really know what we're doing. And instead, he did nothing but offer his help. You know, so really good guy. I don't know if he'll hear this or not, but if he does, I want to tell him, you know, I very much appreciate everything that he offered to do, and definitely invite him onto the show, you know, onto the podcast if that's something he would ever be interested in doing.
Yeah.
So.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, from his first impressions, I think he would be interested, and
would be a cool guy to have on.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'd be a good, you know, educational. I'm sure he knows, you know, a lot more
quite
than
a bit. Yeah, that's cool to gain information
know.
from other people you've never hunted with.
No,
where's he from? That's one thing.
He's from Arizona.
State. Okay, yeah. 'Cause I wasn't
Arizona.
sure if it was same state or not.
Yeah, he's an Arizona boy.
Yeah.
So, but very talented person. I don't know if, you know, if you look on his page. I mean,
I scrolled his page.
His photography and stuff like that. He's next level.
He puts them down. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he kills a lot of He kills a lot of coyotes, and like his photography is on point. And I hope that this whole thing takes us in a direction where we get to meet more people.
Yeah,
like
you
Justin.
never know.
You know, something I'd really like to do is I'd like to find like an active female predator hunter. I don't care if she's on a pro staff or not. Like, that's not, like, status isn't really what's important to me, but like someone that's a real, like, not someone that kills a coyote and takes a picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
Poses for it. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, find a female that really's out there killing coyotes. I'd love to get that female perspective, because I don't know a single female coyote hunter. Like, my wife's killed coyotes and
they
fox
kill
and stuff
coyotes,
like that,
but they're not coyote
but she's
hunters.
not a coyote hunter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would really like to get that
It
female
would be
perspective.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I definitely appreciate you making the trip over to
it's been fun.
do the podcast.
Yeah,
I think that I hope that, you know, for new hunters, maybe we gave them some ideas.
Yeah.
And, you know, intrigued them a little bit to look at coyote hunting. So, is there anything you guys want to say to anybody out there that, you know, might be looking at getting into this?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, just get out there. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like, you
just
got to
do
go
it.
hunt. You got to get up early. You know, if you like to hunt, you're gonna get up early and go hunt. But you got to get up early, and you got to make multiple stands, and eventually you're gonna find coyotes.
Don't be surprised when the perfect stand doesn't work out. Like,
Sure.
I was.
Yes, sir.
I
all
was
the time.
surprised, and like Cade brought up earlier, there is no such thing as a perfect stand.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if you do 20 stands and you don't kill a coyote, don't think you're terrible at it. Like,
Yeah, it's
that's
freaking
normal.
hard.
It's totally normal.
Yeah,
well,
like-
gentlemen, I do appreciate you coming in.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll catch you on the next one.